Everybody. My name is Margaret Nedow, and I am the Vice President of First Generation Professionals of Milwaukee. And today with me, I have JJ Brizendine. He has spent the better part of a decade building his career around the power of meaningful connections, working across the full spectrum to corporate recruiting, everything from finding the right candidates and leading interviews to reshaping entire hiring strategies. His experiences span the tech world, leadership development groups, Audible, and now Manpower Group. No matter the role or company, as a first-generation professional, JJ has stayed focused on one thing: helping people find opportunities that truly fit their skills and goals. And today, he's joining us to speak about his first-gen journey and to share real-world advice for other first-generation professionals entering a tough and unique job market. So JJ, thanks so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited about this opportunity and hope I can share a little bit of knowledge for all the other first-gen professionals that are out there. Yeah, I have a very unique kind of walkthrough for my professional journey, and it started even in kind of my college years. I'd always told everybody I was going to go to Oklahoma State University, and there's no other way other than an act of God that told me to go to University of Central Oklahoma. And so I ended up going there and got into the last semester of my college journey and said, I don't want to do journalism. And that threw a really big curveball into kind of the plans that I had already set forth and had ready to go. I think that in college, they always, what's your 5-year plan, your 10-year plan? I'm a month away from graduating and I don't even have a 1-week plan. So it made it very interesting going through this entire process to then get to, well, what do you do now? And what it really turned into was utilizing my network that I had existed through the leadership organization that I was a part of in college. And from there, I ended up being offered my first job where I got to go to different colleges across the United States to kind of help them bring up their programs that they had in place. From there, I moved here to Milwaukee to start my role as a recruiter in the IT space, which I had that job through my ex-girlfriend at the time. She had a friend who knew somebody in that role. So a lot of very interesting paths to get to kind of where I am today now at Manpower Group. And I think it's one of my favorite aspects of life that I get to hang out with people. I tell people all the time I get paid to yap, which is a dream job for me.
Since you had pivoted away from that initial pursuit in journalism, has that pivot and that process to where you are kind of shaped how you approach your current role?
When I'm interviewing people, I'm not trying to just say, okay, what did you work on? Great. How long have you done that? It's, hey, you're looking for a sales position right now. Why? What is your favorite aspect of working in sales? Who inspired you to go down this route? And truly learning the person, because I think that in the market that we're in today, personality will set you apart from skills and the timeline of how much you've spent into something. That's not to say experience isn't beneficial. A lot of companies are looking for people with those soft skills.
Pivoting just a smidgen on that, there's a lot of emerging professionals that are in that similar boat to where you were and are reconsidering their career and their various paths within it. So what advice would you have for them if they're trying to kind of pivot like you have?
The first bit is talk to somebody who knows you better than you know yourself. I spoke with my mother about it. I know that even some of my colleagues from college, they spoke to their life partner. They spoke to their grandparents. In really talk to them about what are their thoughts and ideas on that, because they're going to provide a pretty unique perspective on it, and they're not in it. When you're in the process looking for the job, trying to figure out the stress, so they can provide a clear, uninterrupted advice on it, I would say. And then I think secondly, if there are other individuals that are going to be looking in a route that they didn't go to school for, you have got to make sure that when your university or your program, your vocational school offers a career fair, go meet every table, go meet every person that's there, because even one interaction is enough to get your foot in the door. I think that there's a study out there that says within the first 30 seconds, people already know if they like you or not. And so those first impressions are super vital. And you don't need to have 130-minute conversations with people for them to remember you. Shake a hand, explain who you are, what you're doing, and then ask them for their advice. They will remember that conversation. So those are my two recommendations.
Yeah, that is really good advice. I think like oftentimes our careers also follow our personal passions in one way or another. So are there any personal passions that have guided you towards your career in recruiting that you have today?
Yeah, absolutely. I love learning about people. I love talking to people, because I personally think that every connection you make is a different perspective of the world that you may not have had prior to that. And so when I get to wake up in the morning and I see that I get to make 8 new friends today, that's so exciting to me. And I will also be honest, I might not be able to help that person, but because I had that conversation, I can point them to another person to have a conversation with. And so being able to utilize my network to help people and get to just make friends.
Shifting gears a little bit into your professional life and role that you have now, can you tell us a little bit more about what you do at Manpower Group and what keeps you in that corporate recruitment industry as a whole beyond what you've already shared with us today?
Yeah, absolutely. So on my kind of like day to day, I am focusing on reaching out to the current talent market that's there, then typically setting up a call, usually over Teams, learning about their skills, goals, and interests, see if it aligns with what we are looking for in this current market. From there, typically putting together essentially a note package as well as their resume, presenting that to the hiring manager, and communicating to them why this person's worth at least an interview. So then from there, it's say that I do that and I get the green light from the hiring manager that they would like to set up an interview. I typically do some interview prep with the candidate saying, hey, this is kind of what we usually will see in an interview with whatever section of Manpower Group that I'm working on that day. Then it's up to the candidate, and they go through the process, typically 2 to 3 rounds, but I'm kind of their go-to person on the inside until we get to an offer stage. And then I kind of have to shift a little bit over to a benefits expert, walk them through kind of what to expect, and then hand everything over to the onboarding team once they say that they accept the offer. And that's kind of the day-to-day of what my role looks like. The only other things that might be a little different is going through our applicant tracking system, or ATS for short. If you ever hear that, that's what that means. And just looking through to see what qualified candidates applied to the role that I'm working on.
Well, thank you for sharing about what your day-to-day is like. I think For a lot of our first generation members, they're either intending to pursue or have recently begun their professional careers. And first question on that front is, I'm sure factors of the current job market make this more challenging than when you initially started maybe in the recruiting industry, one of those being AI. So how has AI impacted the recruitment and the professional world, for better or worse?
So I think that maybe even going back a little bit too, of when I first started in this position or in the recruiting world back in 2020 and moving to kind of where we are today. In 2020, I think artificial intelligence was something that a lot of people were saying that it was coming. And when it comes, you better be 4 steps ahead of it, or you're going to get left behind. And at that time, I was probably 25 and quickly learned that AI is here. It's not going anywhere anytime soon, but it is evolving too. And so with where we're at now in it, it makes my job a little bit more difficult, and there are aspects that it makes it very easy. So where it's difficult is on the side of every person's resume, every person's cover letter has some level of AI put into it. And I have been looking at resumes enough in my life that I know when a resume was entirely built by AI with minimal input from the individual. We still want a person that is going to put in the effort and the work that goes into not only making a resume, but then getting through the process, going through the interview, and being in the job itself. Now, on the positive side, I have seen less bad resumes since people have started using AI for it. I applaud that. I'm very thankful. I remember days where I got a resume that said professional job seeker since 2021. And it's like, it is 2024. What does that even mean? Now seeing that AI can be able to impact it and give you a little bit more context, even if it's you owned a small business that was mowing yards, there's going to be a better substance into the resume.
That's great feedback. And thank you for being honest about the bad and the good of it. I think piggybacking off of that in this kind of smarter, not harder world, and that's how kind of AI has helped people play into things a little bit. What are some, aside from AI, skills that you notice are strong with recent graduating classes, and what skills would you encourage grads to work on a little bit more, maybe that they didn't get fully hammered out in college?
So we're getting on the end of the people who were in college during COVID. We're now getting to the high schoolers who were affected by COVID, still like going into college. And those 2 years without personal interaction, I think there was a lot of lost art in interpersonal skills. And so I think that the ability to communicate effectively, as well as knowing how to carry a conversation, are 2 very important things that I think everybody's looking for. I worked in a leadership development group that focused with Gen Z specifically, and there is a preconceived notion that Gen Z doesn't know how to talk to people. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, but there are elements that if this generation just learns how to talk to people, they're going to go way farther than the individuals who like to communicate through their cell phone. I'm going to do a little plug of the book How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Very old book, very easy read. Highly recommend it to every person ever. And you can learn a lot just in that little 200-page book about how to interact with other humans on a day-to-day basis.
Well, thank you for sharing that resource. I think that'll be helpful for a lot of the people that see this.